I think it's too far away. It's all right, I'll just hold it in my hand. Thanks. So beautiful to be together again. I hope you all had a beautiful, restful afternoon and really enjoyed the sound healing as well. We spoke this morning about freeing ourselves of the negative emotions, the negative beliefs, the thoughts, the patterns. This evening I want to talk, and of course these are not separate subjects, it's all interwoven, interlinked. But I want to talk specifically about what we call the false self, the false identity. We talked this morning about a housemate, a roommate, constantly in our heads. This is taking it now to an element a bit more subtle. Now, instead of it seeming like there's someone constantly jabbering in your head who's separate from you, now we take it to a level where we actually are believing aspects of who we are based on stories that we are telling ourselves. And we all have stories. Every time you say to yourself, I am like this, or I am like that, it's a story. If we go around and I say, tell me about yourself, well, you'd give me your name, maybe you'd give me your age, maybe you'd tell me where you're from, maybe you'd give me your career, your profession, or your relationships. Oh, I'm so-and-so's wife, or I'm so-and-so's husband. Oh, I'm so-and-so's mom or dad, or son or daughter. Maybe you'd give me your race, your religion, your color. Maybe if you were going a little bit deeper, you would tell me something about your emotional states. I struggle with anger. I have an addiction to alcohol. I'm depressed. Whatever it may be, but you're going to give me some aspects that to you feel like you. That's your identity in your mind. And then it goes even subtler in your mind, because in that big form, there's littler aspects. So for example, we say things like, I'm really irresponsible. Or I'm the lazy one. You know, she's the one who gets everything done, I'm the lazy one. Or he's the neat one, I'm the messy one. Okay? Now, they're little, they're innocuous, not a big deal, but they're all little stories about ourselves. They're bricks. They're bricks in this false self-creation. The outer level is going to be, you know, the big stuff, your age, your gender, your career, your main relationships, your race, your religion, where you're from. But then all these bricks are all of these stories we tell ourselves. I'm too negative, right? I had people come up to me after the morning saying, oh, this is me. Well, that's a story. So it's another brick. I'm too negative. Or I'm this, I'm that. How many of us think I'm too old to do something? You want to do something, but I'm too old. It's an identity. I'm not smart enough. I'm not successful enough. Or I'm not rich enough for this. I'm shy. People don't like me. These are all bricks in a construction of self that we are constructing. And this is what we call the false self. But it becomes very paka over the course of our life. I mean, think about like paka brick construction. Right? We say something's kacha, means, you know, it's made maybe with the mud and thatch, but paka construction is your brick construction. So each of us has created our real paka false identities. And there's a lot of dilemmas with this, but the deepest dilemma is it's a lie about who we are. It keeps us stuck in a sense of self that is rooted in a particular intersection of time and space. So if I say to you, I am a 51-year-old female American sannyasi living in India. Sannyasi, well, it's true. I mean, I haven't made any of that up. It's all true. On this intersection of time and space. They're all stories. They're stories about this body, where it's gone, where it was manufactured. Right? It's the 1971 American model. Okay? That's its manufacturing. Where the plant was. But that's not who I am. It's just the model of this vehicle that I'm driving. It isn't me. And sure, each of us have different skills and abilities, talents, interests. Wonderful. But it's not who we are. We have different fluctuations in the chemistry and electricity of our brains. We were talking about that last night and again this morning, that we call thoughts or emotions. Fine. It's a wave at an intersection of time and space. It's not who we are. But when we create these false senses of self, it prevents us from actually knowing the true self. It prevents us from knowing that divine within. I had given this morning this mantra for those who don't already have a mantra of so right? I am that. But if my story about myself is I'm stupid, I'm worthless, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm a failure, I'm too this, I'm too that, I say stupid things, I laugh at the wrong jokes, I'm not nice to people, nobody likes me. Well, how can I possibly know that I am one with the divine while telling myself all this garbage? They don't go together. But the more pucka my construction of myself is, the less able I am to open myself into who I really am. The dilemma, tragically also, with this false construction is there's something in psychology that we call confirmation bias. What it means is that we're always looking to confirm what we already believe. It's just the nature of the mind. If I think nobody likes me, I'm going to constantly, my mind is going to be looking for instances. I walk into a room and somebody turns the other way. Okay? Now, I don't acknowledge the fact that at that exact moment his phone rang, and so he turned to pick it up. Or at that exact moment somebody in front of him on the other side fell down and he turned to help them up. In my mind, it's all about, I walked in the room, he looked the other way. See, nobody likes me. The mind is always looking to confirm. And some of it we confirm from the outer world, but tragically a lot of it we actually create in our lives to be able to confirm it. So I am stupid and worthless, not a success. Therefore, I'm going to subconsciously ensure that I don't actually succeed, because that would be against what my mind thinks. So I'm going to actually subconsciously self-sabotage myself in order to confirm my own beliefs. If I think I'm stupid and worthless, I'm going to make sure that that's true. And then, of course, we end up creating lives for ourselves based on these false identities that in so many cases are negative. And we end up handicapping ourselves. You know, there's that beautiful story of the baby elephant who they tie the foot to it, you know, so that it can't run away, the baby elephant in the, I don't know, the circus or whoever keeps elephants. So they tie the little foot so the elephant can't go away. And when the elephant is a baby, it tries and it tries to pull its foot out, and it can't, so it gives up. But give that elephant a couple of years, right? And now it's a huge elephant. Now it could trample everything. But it no longer tries. Because it has learned, I cannot do it. Now you think this amazing elephant, huge elephant, is kept bound by this tiny little stick and chain because subconsciously it has learned, I am weak, I am small, I am stuck. There's a lot of really, really powerful research in psychology around what we call learned helplessness, which is how, if something doesn't work in the beginning for enough times in a row, we stop trying. And even when it does work, we've stopped trying. We no longer are able to push ahead. And this is what happens to us. And so the false self has two really core problems. The first is it's false. It keeps us from knowing the real divine, that soul, that spirit, that infinite divinity within ourselves on the highest, deepest level. But even on this human level, even on the level of this intersection of time and space, here we are on planet Earth in human form, it keeps us stuck. Because we've created these ideas, and sadly, a huge number of these ideas come not from any reliable source. I mean, it's really interesting if you go back, you think, where did these ideas come from? Well, sadly, the vast majority of them come from this amorphous idea of the neighbor. The neighbor, wo samne wale kya sochega? Right? What's the neighbor gonna say? Samne wale kya kahega? Kya sochega? And how we change our entire understanding of ourself, our place here on earth, our dharma, our power, our possibility, based on what the neighbors are going to think. And so if when you are ever thinking about yourself and about the truth of who you are, if in your mind what someone else is going to say or think about it, if that comes to you, you're living not only in a false self, but you are living seriously stuck. No one has ever, or at least no one I've ever known or heard of, has ever created a deeply full, rich, expansive, free life based on building brick by brick of their identity based on what the neighbors think. I promise, the neighbors do not have your best interest in mind. They may be nice. They may be very nice. They may really like you. But ultimately what their agenda is to keep the status quo. And in order to do that, we have to keep everyone in their box. Like you need to know your place. Find your box, know your place. And this is what keeps all of us stuck. So I want you to just take a moment, close your eyes. And we've all got so many stories we tell ourselves, but I want you to think of just one. Just think of one that's really, really present for you, not some very obscure thing that you once said to yourself 20 years ago, but some very present story that you tell yourself about yourself. I am like this, or I am that. And especially something that keeps you stuck, that keeps you small. Just think about it. Find one. And allow yourself to just hold that in your mind's eye. And notice what happens to your breath when you tell yourself that story. Don't analyze visualize it, just notice. Is there a change in your breath as you tell yourself this story about yourself? I am this. Is there a change in your body? Do you feel it differently in the energy of your body and the flow? The flow of the energy, do you feel a difference? What does this story feel like in you? Can you see the box it's put you in? Really see it. Now I want you to ask yourself, how do I know that this is really true? What is the evidence for this story? How do I know it's really true? Is it really true? How do I know that? Why am I so sure that this story is true? Allow yourself to really think about that. And then ask yourself, who would I be if this story were not true? Who would I be? What would my life be like if this story were not true? If I stopped believing this story? What would my life be like? Okay, open your eyes. So I'm not gonna call on anyone, but is there anyone who would like to share what the story is that you've seen, that you tell yourself, and whether it's true and who you might be without it? Would anyone like to share their story? No pressure. They're private, I know. It's not something you have to feel like you have to share publicly, but sometimes people like to. So I know for me, I'll share mine. I know for me, before I went to India, I had always really thought that I was somehow disqualified from grace, from being a spiritual person. It wasn't something that I ever had thought about much. I was a scientist, I was an academic. But I always felt that somehow this whole experience of God, experience of spirituality, presence of grace, was something that I was disqualified from. I was disqualified based on that which had happened in my life, based on that which I had done, based on the oh so ever impure thoughts in my own mind, based on all of the different things in my life that I thought were surely not in line with what grace was looking for. I also always thought that I would spend my life defined by the way that I had struggled, defined by the things that had happened to me. It was what I had always been told, like, this is who you are, this is what you're going to have to live with. And it wasn't until I got to India and got to the banks of Ganga and had this incredibly powerful experience that I realized, oh my God, not only is that not true, number one. Number two, it was not even ever told to me by anyone I actually trusted and respected. I mean, if I went back and I thought, well, God, look at that which I had thought for 25 years. I mean, it's one thing if someone you really trust and love and respect tells you something. But I thought, where did I even come up with these beliefs? And I realized that it was based on either direct or indirect things that people who pretty much I wanted nothing to do with, people for whom I didn't have any respect or any love, had said to me. And I thought, how interesting in retrospect. I hadn't thought about it like that while I was living it. But in retrospect, I thought, how interesting that I've created an entire identity. An identity full of suffering based on the word of people who, A, I don't trust, B, themselves are so clearly suffering. And I realized also that self-perpetuatingness of it. How because I believed this was who I was constantly looking for confirmation of it. Oh, see, I am like this. Oh, I can't do that because I am like this. I have these issues. This is who I am. And it wasn't until Puja Swamiji made me stand and offer it all to Ganga and guided me through this real letting go of all of that I thought I was. And I realized that it had never been true. It wasn't that he miraculously made it no longer true. It was that he showed me how it had actually never been true, but that I had believed it. He once told me I was the stupidest smart person he'd ever met. But I imagine a lot of you can identify with that, right? We're smart people, we're intelligent people, we're educated people, and yet look at the nonsense we believe about ourselves. Look at the stories we're telling ourselves about ourselves. And then to realize, wow, well, if I didn't have this story, then suddenly every way I've been living no longer makes sense. Suddenly you realize, and this is why, by the way, we hold on to a lot of these identities, because we've constructed lives based on them. If I think I am stupid and worthless, well, I'm going to construct a life of someone who's very small, not doing much, not achieving much, not helping much, serving much, not being a tool in God's hands. And I'm going to construct a life like that. And then it becomes important to hold on to that, because otherwise, oh my God, it's going to uproot my life if I realize I actually have this divine presence in me. But what I can tell you is our lives get uprooted anyway, whether it happens on your deathbed or it happens anytime before. Rain is not in here. She must be on the phone. She was just telling me this morning about her grandmother, how when her grandmother died, her grandmother had been a very, very successful business person. And on her deathbed, she said, I wish I had loved more and earned less. And it was such a simple but beautiful statement. Because it's not just about earning, it's not just about in dollars or achievement, but it's actually about in how we understand ourselves. That I've spent all of my life self-identifying as how much I make, what my job is, what I'm achieving, what I'm acquiring, what I'm earning. And then finally, as we're about to drop the body, we realize, oh my God, that isn't me. And who I am is this heart, is love, is spirit. And so I took it really as a beautiful teaching and awareness of, I wish I had lived more in truth. And it doesn't mean don't earn, it doesn't mean don't succeed, but it means don't identify as that. I want to do a partner exercise, which is one of my favorite. Those of you who have been in satsang before may have done this, but it's a really powerful exercise. So choose a partner. Doesn't matter if it's someone you know or someone you don't know, but choose a partner and then sit near to them. 2 is better. 2 is better. And we've got a lot of space in this big hall, so try to just create a little bit of room. You're all in these very nice, neat rows, but your chairs are movable, so you can move them a little bit closer to your partner and a little bit farther away. You want to be facing each other. Facing each other. So create a little bit of space. Does everyone have a partner? Raise your hand if you don't have a partner. If you are a group of 3, you don't have a partner, good. Madhuji, come up here and be with Madhuji. Yes, you don't, come. Come right here in the front. Does anyone else not have a partner? Okay. Now, you 2 groups are too close together. So Induji, if you can just move a little bit this way, yeah. You want to be able to hear each other, but not so much the people next to you. Not that it's secret, it's just better to drop in if you're not listening to what everybody else is saying. Okay, now in your group, decide one person is going to be partner A and the other is going to be partner B. So however you want to decide. Those who are partner A, raise your hand. Okay, raise your hand if you're partner A. Every group has a partner A. Yes, good. Raise your hand if you're partner B. Good, okay. So partner A, your job is very simple. You simply say to partner B, who are you? Now you're going to say it and then partner B is going to give you some answer. Your job as partner A, you say one thing and one thing only. Who are you? Whatever partner B says, you just respond with, who are you? Who are you? They will give you another answer when they're done. Don't interrupt them, but when they're done, again just say, who are you? Partner B, you may feel uncomfortable, you may giggle, it's normal, it's natural, but allow yourself. The giggling is a sense of insecurity. We don't like to drop deeply. We don't want to know who we are. But give yourself this beautiful opportunity to really, to see what emerges for you. So partner A, all you're going to do, no matter what partner B says, whenever they stop, you just say, who are you? Just guide them in another step deeper. Okay, so partner A, you are on. Take another minute, keep going, go as deep as you can. One more minute. Partner A, you're still just asking, who are you? Okay, now you're going to switch. Partner B. Now you ask partner A, who are you? Tusharji, you don't have to take notes, don't worry. Don't worry. He's taking notes about you. You don't have to take notes. Partner B is asking, who are you? your chairs back around. Would anyone like to share their experience? Would anyone like to share what they learned and experienced about themselves? Yes, Lori.
I think it would have been so much easier if I would have responded when it was my turn, in terms of physical characteristics, I am a mother and blah, blah, blah. But I was saying that I thought it would have been much easier for me to respond with, I think what we so often, or how we so often respond. I am a mother, I am, whatever. But I intentionally did not do that, and it made it much more difficult.
Yes.
But I think it was also much more probably revealing. I know it was for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the point. I mean, most people do begin there, but that's why we keep asking. Just keep asking, just keep asking, just keep asking, and eventually you sort of run out of external things. It's the flip side of the niti meditation, which is I'm not this, I'm not that, so I'm not my clothes, I'm not the skin beneath my clothes, I'm not my blood, I'm not my organs. I mean, it's that meditation, I'm not this, not that. The flip side of that, what am I? And of course what emerges first is that same superficial level stuff. And then hopefully we drop deep, as you say, it's much more difficult, but then much deeper. Would anyone else like to share an experience? Yes, Mataji.
Up until a certain point in life, you identify yourself with your name, what family you come from, and who your spouse is and all that. But as you go deeper into spirituality, my response is, I'm a soul, and God has given me this body to be able to help others and to do seva. That is who I am.
Beautiful. You should know there's no right answer here. It's not, who got to the right answer. There's no right answer. What matters is your awareness of who you are. I mean, yes, we're soul. We know that. To be able to experience that is a completely different thing. To really know it is a completely different thing. So that's what we drop into. Beautiful. Would anyone else like to share? Sadhna.
So after we went through being a woman, being a mother, a wife, and all that, it came down to I'm a being of light, and soham, I am that I am. But as you just said, how to feel that all the time is the difficult part.
Yeah. So the first piece to experience that all the time is to keep asking the question. I mean, I don't have a watch with me, but I only gave you 4 or 5 minutes each side. It wasn't a 1 hour meditation. in asking yourself, you got there in just a few minutes. And this is where that practice of asking is the practice. How to get back there? Ask yourself, who am I? Sitting in a board meeting, frustrated, upset, stressed, we'll just take a minute. Drop in. Who am I? Just keep asking. Ask it in your meditation, but ask it in your life. And a lot of times what you'll notice is, after practice, simply asking the question brings you into that awareness. You no longer need to actually answer it, because you already know the answer, you feel the answer. And so simply the question is enough to reconnect you. Yeah.
Madhuji, is your mic on also?
This works? Yeah, I feel like I'm, though soul is correct, means in a way is correct answer, but I feel I'm doctor. Even if it's soul, I want to have doctor soul. And in next life also, I want to be doctor only. I just want to be a doctor soul. So that's what my identity, I think that's my identity.
Beautiful. He raised a wonderful, wonderful point. He said, I'm Dr. Soul. I just want to be Dr. Soul in my next life also. And it's a really important and beautiful point, because knowing that you are soul doesn't mean that which we are doing or engaging in is somehow not something that we love. We are here to do our dharma, to do our duty. If you doubt that, just pick up a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, there is just no doubt whatsoever that we are here to act, to engage in karma. Which karma? The karma of our dharma, fulfilling our duty to the very, very best of our abilities, with full sincerity, full commitment, full shakti, full yukti, also made very clear in the Mahabharata, which I love. Use your brain also, right? There's moments, I mean, there's beautiful moments in the Mahabharata where Bhagavan Krishna uses, it's not just a matter of the strength of the warriors, it's a matter of strategy. It's a matter even sometimes of a bit cunning strategy.
Cunning.
Because we are supposed to fulfill our dharma, and sometimes here's how we do it. Here's what we need to do. Yukti bhi, shakti bhi. Being a doctor is very clearly your dharma, and that's beautiful. But it isn't who you are, and here's why that's important. Let's say, God forbid, you have an accident, you get sick, something happens, not your fault, but under your watch. Then you're saddled with a malpractice suit. Now you can't work. I mean, God forbid, it should not happen. It will not happen to you, but let's just imagine. So you no longer are a practicing doctor. Or eventually you retire. No longer a practicing doctor. I mean, God bless you. You should keep working until, as long as there's life in your body. But there may be a day, for a whole variety of different reasons, in which you may not actually actually be able to be a practicing doctor. That's going to be sad and difficult enough. The last thing you need is to feel like you've also lost yourself. And when we over-identify the self with the Dharma, then we actually lose. It's like, again, let's just go back to the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavan Krishna makes it very clear to Arjuna, your Dharma as a Kshatriya is to fight this battle. You must do it well, you must do it sincerely. And yet, when Arjuna says, well, but I could die. I mean, first he's worried about killing others, then, but I could die. And Bhagavan Krishna goes into the whole beautiful, beautiful teaching that I was speaking about last night about you're not the one who dies. You're not the one who was born. And the whole point of that, of this 700 verse teaching, and the whole point of Bhagavan Krishna finally showing Arjuna who he really is to help Arjuna understand, oh yeah, okay, this is my duty, this is my dharma, this is what I'm supposed to do, and who I am is the soul. Never born, never dies. Have been doing this incarnation after incarnation after incarnation after incarnation. But even if this body dies, I don't. I'm not the warrior. The warrior is part of the package deal of the karmic package that Arjuna came into this particular life with. For a whole variety of, karmic reasons that we won't go into right now. But they're beautiful. I mean, you step back, you listen to the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, and suddenly the whole thing makes sense. I mean, you take back Bhagwan Ram and King Dashrath, and you take it all the way back to Shravan Kumar. And suddenly you realize, oh my God, okay, yeah, it all makes sense. We won't go there right now, but I mention it because your Dharma, and thank God you have found it, and it's so beautiful to see your love and your commitment for it, is to be a doctor. And who you are is soul. Long before you were a doctor, you are. I mean, there was a time in your life that you weren't yet a doctor. Still existed. There may be a time in your life when you're no longer a doctor, but you will still exist. Who is that? And that's the beautiful aspect of the self, to figure out, well, I mean, you're not being a doctor right now. Who are you? And to just touch into that, yeah, that's my profession. When I'm doing it, I'm a doctor, but at the moment, I'm not operating or prescribing medicine or, checking anybody out. I'm sitting in satsang. Well, who am I? Who's the I sitting in satsang? And it's a beautiful window into the self. And again, there's no right answer. It just takes us deeper and deeper. The questions themselves are the path. And it's that path of inquiry. And ultimately you just hit that space, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion. You get to the place where there's nothing or everything. We have questions, okay?
Can I
Thank you.
Sadhviji, in Gita chapter 2 verse 46 through 50 or something, Lord Krishna talks about buddhi yoga, that whenever you do karma, you have to focus on
Yes.
what you're doing, because otherwise you can go
Absolutely.
on the wrong path. I love that part.
We have to stay focused. Tomorrow we're going to talk about distractions. So I'm gonna leave this topic of focus to tomorrow. But it's a beautiful segue into tomorrow. That look, even long before we had smartphones that were binging and pinging and vibrating and whatnot, nonetheless, Bhagwan Krishna was reminding us to be focused. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. What is the best, easiest way of meditation? The easiest way to begin is just watching the breath. We'll start tomorrow morning. We'll come into satsang. We'll begin the satsang with the meditation tomorrow. And I'll just walk you through a very simple meditation. We did a very simple sort of anchoring yesterday, last night. And we'll go through a simple meditation tomorrow. What's important about meditation is there's no correlation between complexity and power. Meditation is ultimately an undoing. And in that undoing, you experience the self. It's really about tapping into that state of awareness that I was talking about last night, that okay, I was angry, I was fearful, I was happy, I was in love, I was jogging, I was swimming, I was walking, I was cooking. All of those things are over now. But I was aware through all of them. And so that awareness is the only thing that's constant. And meditation is that which gets us into connection with that state of awareness that is the one thing that doesn't change. And so in meditation, we learn to be aware of the breath. People do sometimes meditation of a candle flame or an image of the divine or a particular mantra. There's a lot of different ways. I find the breath and a simple mantra together, my mind tends to be a bit overactive, and so I like two different things to do rather than just one. So I like the breath and a simple mantra. But there's a lot of different ways, and I'll walk you through, as I said, I'll walk you through one tomorrow morning. We'll begin with it. But if you've got a practice of meditation already that works for you, just do it. The only wrong way to meditate is not to do it. Why did the Mahabharat happen even when God was there? It's a great question, and it brings us into so much. So, first of all, remember that Lord Krishna tells us whenever there is darkness in the world, whenever adharma is winning out over dharma, whenever darkness is winning out over light, I incarnate in form here on earth to bring back light to the darkness, to bring back Dharma to the adharma. So there's obviously a why did the Mahabharata happen when God was there? Well, God is here. Why is war happening? Why are people fighting? God is here. But until we align our free will with the presence of God, God's not going to magic wand away our ignorance. We've got to work at it. And Duryodhana wasn't prepared. He was mired in darkness. And Arjun's dharma was to restore the light. Hence, Bhagavan Krishna had come onto earth. From this morning, you said when you want God as much as you want that breath, then, using that example, I failed to fully grasp the end of that thought. Please repeat. Okay, sure. So this morning, we were speaking about a man who had been meditating, but his mind was wandering. Couldn't keep thinking about God, mind kept wandering. And the Guru held his head underwater. You all remember the story, I'm not going to repeat it all. But the Guru held his head underwater until he thought he was drowning. And essentially said, because the man's mind, when he thought he was drowning, was singularly focused on getting a breath of air, the Guru said, when you want God, as much as you wanted a breath of air, your mind will stop wandering. The implication being that we want God, but we also really want to keep thinking about how obnoxious that person was yesterday. And we want God, but I also really want to keep thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner. Because there's so many options, and I've only got half an hour, and we've got these people coming over, and if I don't figure it out now, then it's going to be difficult later. So the point of the story is, when you want God as single-pointedly, as single-focusedly, as you want a breath of air when you think you are drowning, then your mind will stop wandering. But if the mind keeps wandering, what it means is that you're not as single-pointed in your focus of wanting God. Because when you really want something, it's all you can think about. What is the difference? Sorry, I'm just at that beautiful stage in life in which I can still read without reading glasses, but just have to hold it a little bit farther and wish that the letters were a little bit bigger. Okay. What is the difference between Jiva, Maya, and Ishwar? So, I imagine that we're getting relatively close to the end. What does our timing look like?
7 more minutes.
7 minutes, all right. So, but there are 3 very, very beautiful and very critical topics. Jiv is this life. This particular incarnation, this heart that is beating, this physical body, these cells of my body, that's Jiv. We are living. And not only humans, the flower, the blade of grass is also Jiv. It's alive, it's living. It's that fundamental level of actually having the life force within one. Maya is the illusion that I am the container of my Jiv, you could say. So Maya says, let's try to weave them together. So if Jiv is this body, keeps changing of course, but since I'm still alive, it's all my Jiv. So When I was a baby, it looked one way. I keep growing, 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 growing. The body keeps changing. But nonetheless, this is my Jiv. My soul would be my Jiva Atma. Different from the Supreme Soul. This is my individual soul, and I put it in quotation marks because there isn't really a separate soul. Ultimately, it's just one soul, like there is nothing but God. But nonetheless, this aspect of the one soul that has got my karmic package attached to it, that is incarnated in my body, well, that's my Jivatma. So this is Jiv. Maya is the illusion that looks at the Jiv and says, oh, I am that. I am this body, its size, its shape, its color. It is that I am that 1971 American model. Maya says, I am that. I am where I was created, I am what I look like, I am all of this false self. That's Maya. And of course, Maya extends into all of the illusions in the mind, because if I am this, well then I want more. Then we get greed. We get lust, then I'm angry because who do you think you are? How dare you deprive me of what I want? How dare you stand in my way in some way? So there's anger, there's greed, there's lust, there's all of these things that cause suffering. There's that core illusion as I look at this Jiv that says I am not enough. I'm not smart enough, rich enough, beautiful enough, successful enough, happy enough, popular enough. Not enough. And so Maya's always looking to grab, to push away what it doesn't like, and to just wrap us in this illusion of thinking, you are this. Ishwar, God, is everything. That's the truth of who we are, is one with God. Ultimately, there is nothing but God. And that's what Jiva Mukti is. So going back to Jiv, when Jiv is wrapped up in Maya, illusion, we get suffering, we get stuck. We get lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of coming back and coming back and coming back, because we just keep creating more and more karma, because we're wrapped up in the ignorance. Jiv becomes free when we realize that we are one with God, and that it's all God. It's like, again, back to the Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, well, the way to be free of this cycle of birth and death is realize it's all me. Therefore, you have to act. But offer it to me. Realize I am acting through you. There is no separate you. It's all me. Offer it to me, offer it to me. And so Jiv becomes free when we let go of all of that which is not God. All of the ego, all of the ignorance, all of the illusion. That's why we do yajna. Right? I mean, that's what yajna is. In yajna, we're just offering and offering. Take this, take this, take this. To free ourselves. so that even in our bodies we can be free. Because Jeev, this body, this life, this is a blessing, it's a gift. It's not life that keeps us from moksha. You know, a lot of times people say, well, to sharir chhodne ke baad fir mukti milega. But the sharir, the body, is not the problem. Right? I mean, it's not your elbow that is somehow keeping you from living in moksha. Or your knee that's this big barrier between you and moksha. It's not the body. It's the mind. And so when the mind becomes free of Maya, then Jeev recognizes that ultimately it is one with Ishwar, just in the sake of this question, but God in general, and then becomes free, and that's what Jiva Mukti is. Free while we are living. And then of course life just becomes a beautiful blessing, rather than this element of suffering and struggle, and then we come back and we do it again, and then we do it again. Well, we might as well. I mean, we've all been so blessed in this lifetime to be brought into Pujya Swamiji's presence and blessings and grace, and to be so touched. Why not? Just let go of the illusions, let go of the stories. Keep asking yourself, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Drop into it. And you can always come back next life, don't worry about it, but we've been given so much this time. Why not unfold as much as we possibly can? Why wait? Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. We will have our yoga tomorrow. Is now at 6.
Yes.
Is it still 6:30 or it's been changed to 6?
Well, I think some people, they say that from 6:30 to 7:30 and then 8 o'clock walk.
A walk,
Yes,
okay.
It's just a little gap.
Should we have a quick vote? Is that the easiest way to do it? Okay, quick vote. And obviously only vote if you actually are one of those people who go to yoga. If you are one who goes to yoga and you would prefer it to stay at 6:30, the walk is at 8. So if you prefer yoga to stay as it is, 6:30 to 7:30, and half an hour is enough time for you to do whatever you need to do, raise your hand. Okay? Put your hands down. If you go to yoga and you would prefer to have an hour between yoga and the walk, and so you would like yoga to be 6 to 7, raise your hand. Okay, you are outvoted. Done. Okay. So yoga will stay at 6:30. And we then have our walk, our silent walk at 8. And we will gather for satsang in the morning again at 11. And then in the afternoon, Pujya Swamiji will be arriving. He should be getting here. We'll obviously stay in touch as the day goes by, and his American flights are, at the moment, he's on his way in from India to New York. But as his US flights start to take off and land in the morning, we'll keep you all posted. but it looks like he's due to land in Louisville at 3, which with the time difference should get him here by 5. So we were thinking it would be really beautiful for all of us to welcome him when he arrives, and then, you know, just start the sound bath a little bit late. We've got till, the arati I think isn't till 8 if I remember correctly, right? 7:30 or 8. So we've got plenty of time. So we'll keep you posted in the morning satsang and then also at lunchtime with regard to the exact timing. But we'll all plan to gather in the front to welcome Puja Swamiji when he arrives, and then we have a very, very special meditation and arati tomorrow evening with Puja Swamiji.
Hopefully the weather will be nice tomorrow evening.
Is the weather maybe not going to be so nice tomorrow?
They're projecting rain.
Okay, well, we will, look, we are together. Puja Swamiji is arriving. We are in this beautiful retreat center. We will adjust. Whatever the weather presents us with, we will adjust accordingly. And whatever it is, it will be beautiful. We'll either be outside or we'll be inside. Whatever it is, it'll be perfect. Any other logistic, anything that needs to be done? Wonderful.
If we can make sure for the walk tomorrow morning, if we can leave the lodge by 7:45, so that we have little more time at the trip following the walk.
So that's going to be hard with yoga ending at 7:30. So I think we should aim for 8, but I think given that satsang isn't until 11 and we've got a nice flexible time for breakfast, if we end up coming back at 9:10 or so, that'll be fine. So yeah, I think let's keep 8 o'clock as the time to start.